My name is Keng Hua from SUTD, in short, for Singapore University of Technology and Design. I'm running one research lab within the university called SEARCH Social Urban Research Group, while at the same time also practice as design architects with my partner under Colors Collectively Ours. So today I just want to share with you some of the background that we have done in the research, but I will, not go through all the figures and numbers, so just go straight into design, I guess. But on the other hand, I also want to share with you how we translate it into our design. But first of all, let me welcome you to my estate. In fact, I stay in Pandan Garden. So my block is just down the road. So I'm very privileged to come here to share with you. And most of the time I came here in my t-shirt and shorts. So first time sorry, you probably see me jogging past once sometimes. Anyway, and that's also very nice to see that how this neighborhood has starting to transform, I think, through design, and how design can make a difference to the kind of environment that we are living in, like what has shared by Ben. Start with some, it all started with the idea of research in creative aging cities a few years ago, together with my sociology colleague, because our room is just, our office is just next door to each other, because the way SUTD is organized is such that there's no department. So we just all mix around and talk to each other. We say, hey, what do we do something about aging? Because we see the issues in Singapore, and that was like, I think 6 years ago, before, this topic becomes so hot now. So we start to go around Singapore taking photographs and see what is happening into our elderly here, because we keep talking about creative city, but on the other hand, we're also facing the aging city issue. So how can we have both creative and aging at the same time? And so we start to investigate the notion of age-friendly, active aging in place. Okay, don't worry, I will come back to library later. I just want to take a detour about elderly, but finally I think it all makes sense, right? So you can see how behavior in such space that we are familiar with can actually take place. And we also talk about social creativity, because we believe that creativity may not be just one individual, more than just an artist, like some creative genius idea, but it's about how a group come together and be creative about or innovative about something to solve an issue. So in this case, we come across this void deck in Yishun. It was collaboratively done up by the resident themselves. Become like a living room. Much more example to show you later. So our investigation then become the Occupy movement in Singapore by the creative senior communities. Right, so the first Occupy movement is by the chess players. I'm not sure whether you come across this. In the shelter-link way, they play chess and then obstruct the wheelchair user, so they make a complaint, and town council put a poster saying no chess playing in public spaces. So that become a negotiation of such public space, and then they have to move aside, and under the 24 hours opening banner, and they still keep playing there. But when I was interviewed, they still prefer the shelter link way because of the environment, right? And they like the passers-by too. And that's why the next scene you can see, they like to crowd together, at one corner where the passers-by can actually see and join the fun and maybe comment, and they will, all kind of negotiation as well. At the same time, this is actually next to a chess, those concrete chess table that was made by the government. Nobody used that. Yeah. But what do they use for? They use it to play casino. So this is a group of elderly come back from their market, pass by, and then they will play a game of blackjack before they go back. So this become like their morning, every morning routine. Or they have round table like us. So they put it together, some plastic chairs, have round table every day and talk about politics and the soccer game. And or the guys, the Chinese guys will sit next to the coffee shop, their legs up and relax, and they have their council meeting about the country. Or they perform as security guards at a drop-off point, and we see many of those over here as well. So that becomes such space that not usually used for such purpose, but repurposed to become such a social setting, right? Or farmers market and make use of the defensible railing and all that to become their own space to sell things. And we have more railing that is then react upon those those social setting, and we start to build in what we call the senior citizen corner, 乐龄中心 in Chinese, and we start to put up grill, and soon you see lock, you see, everybody's trying to protect their space, and nobody use that anymore. So why are we doing that as designer? That are we over providing or over designing sometimes, or should we just leave some space? This case, you see how do you know what is inside here? TV. Yeah, it's TV, but usually it's locked up. Another instance, it's still locked up. So we went around the city and look at all these instances. Nobody used those TV, but just right next to this, the next column, there's a TV brought down by the resident themselves, and it was left there without lock. Nobody stole it. So why do you need to lock it? And more such example of bringing more than one TV. In fact, I think there are 3 TV here. So they have a Chinese channel, a Malay channel, and a Tamil channel. So they can all share the common living room. And they have playground too in the same living room. So this uncle, he is electrician, used to. So he collected a lot of garang kuni, the leftover stuff, and he collected a lot of toys. And that became the playground for the grandmothers to bring their grandchildren down during in the afternoon, where they are watching TV. The grandchildren can play the toys, and they also collect the gyms, and they repair and become a free gym membership down at the void deck.
Where is it?
This one is in Dover, not far from here. Dover Crescent, block 20. I will tell you. It's still there, but yeah, you're right. Every now and then, I come back to visit 2 uncles every few months, and they will complain to me the toys have been confiscated again. So every now and then, there will be somebody make a complaint, the toys blocking my way, the town council come, confiscate everything. And then they collect again. Next month you come back, it's all back. Yeah, so that's how they negotiate with the authority, with the residents. Yeah. And vehicle for rental as well. So we have wheelchair. This is another place. This is in Yishun. Yeah. And makerspace. They have their own makerspace too. Yeah. This one is free soup every day. So this uncle, he actually cooks soup every day without fail. And all the office workers and people who pass by, the next door is actually the coffee shop. After their lunch, they come here, everybody drink soup. So it's a very nice gesture. So public space is not just the space itself, but it's also, I think, the kindness that people are contributing to each other to help each other in this space. And this is the Arthur. This is the man who cooked the soup every day. And not just cooking the soup, he actually transformed the whole stretch of pathway into his own garden. I mean, community garden. Yeah, so everybody can enjoy the stroll after they come back from the coffee shop. And we see more of such gardening activity beyond those fenced-out community garden in the city. For example, on the high rise, so we have all kind of sky garden done by the people, and it's so comfortable because you can even sleep inside there. And also beside the substation, in this case, please return my flowers that you have taken, otherwise something will happen to you. Thank you. And please don't take away anymore. So again, we see all this kind of negotiation in public spaces, right? But on the other hand, you also see plants repair. So besides repairing bicycle, this group of auntie come down to repair plants, and it just so happened by accident. I think they just saw that some residents thrown away some plants. They start to revive them. Once it's revived, it's gone. Presumably taken back by the resident, and then more plants come down and dying, and then they repair again. So that become like a permanent space where they come down to revive all the plants. That become their own self-made kind of public space. And this family is also quite interesting. They moved from Seletar A base because they were being evicted from there. So they have a lot of those leftover stuff from their garden last time, and then they transplant it over here right in front of their HDB flat on the ground floor, and even actually backyard as well, so front yard and backyard. And every now and then they will receive a fine from the town council, $200, $300, and finally $2,000. So they say, oh, that's it, we can't pay anymore. So they post it on Facebook, and then suddenly get 300,000 support, and they use that to negotiate the authority, and then they have it. So they don't have to pay the fine anymore. But the authorities say, but you can only keep one. So you either choose front yard or backyard. So in the end, they keep the front yard. They, had to dismantle the backyard. But this become the block community corner, become formalized by the RC, and but it's a very self-made, ground-up project that somehow become very successful. So successful that every Christmas it has so many people. All the residents will come down, become their annual celebration. I joined them last year, so 2 years ago. Yeah, so they're still doing that. So we made a little video. If you are interested to look at the short film that we're making, Creative Aging City Singapore, you can go to our website and you can watch the whole video there. It's only 12 minutes. So after learning from how people use the space, so how do we do it? What do we do with that? So we start to think of how can we then designing those creative places together with seniors. So after all this observation, and of course we also done survey and other kind of qualitative analysis, but we also run a workshop as such. So this workshop that we will run in Ang Mo Kio the past few months. So we are still working on the project, building a community gym with them. So we go through different forms of exercise. We have focus group, we have road show, we have models to get the public involved in how they want to make this space. We work with students to conceptualize future of senior care center and how different stakeholders have different vision on how this senior care center can be in future. So we run participatory workshop. That was me a few years ago, and we work at NTUC Health. In this case, they want to prototype a new senior care center for the rental block, studio apartment that was in the Woodlands, Marsiling. So we get their feedback, we categorize, we run analysis, and then we came out with the idea of how to make use of all these spaces effectively and also flexibly, because there's so many requirements. Everybody wants something. Of course, NTUC Health also want a lot of things. So we want to squeeze everything under the small void deck. It's kind of impossible. So we make it very changeable, very flexible. They have TCM, traditional Chinese medicine. There's dental care, and some of the rooms are double up as karaoke room, exercise room, lecture room, medical concierge over here, and also can turn into a cafe or market hall. And also we use modular pods so that they can move around. And also the whole place is very open. It links between the bus stop and the coffee shop behind, so anybody can just pass by. Unlike many of those senior care centers, they're actually very enclosed. So we ask them to open the doors during the daytime, so anybody can just walk past and interact with the seniors. We have a variety of furniture, and also we transform the facade into a garden facade. Because we can't use the land outside, so we can only make use of the 400mm ledge and transform it into a vertical garden. So in the end, that's how it looks like. All these materials are suggested by the residents, senior residents over there, and we work with them to see how to populate this area with different kind of furniture, mobile pots. This is actually like a mobile pantry, but in the end it turned into a gardening pot as well. So this is the facade, and then people are using that. And this is a small reading corner, so this is some association with library. Yeah, it's sponsored by National Library. And what we do outside is actually influenced inside, because right next to the plants is where we put the books and the reading corners, and a lot of time they play with the tablets, and also some gym equipment that's facing the facade outside as well, the green facade. And here we went back to interview and see that residents actually are using this space very effectively. In fact, most of the plants are not locked. They just put there, and they just bring down their own plants, and they put names on the plants, so they know which plant belong to who. And not because they just want to prevent stolen, and because they want to help each other. So they help each other to water in case somebody never come, or they will actually know why you never come and water your plant. Are you okay? So they'll go up and knock the door and find out about each other. So using this as a way to bring people together. But of course, there's also a little bit of competition between the different plants owners as well. Yeah, which is good. Yeah. So we did a quick post-occupancy evaluation, and most of the people who actually participate in our workshop before came back and they really feel that they are contributing to the place, and they feel a higher sense of ownership, and they want to contribute even more in future as well. So that's the benefit we see, that in involving them as part of the design process, so that the whole place become more sustainable. Well, not the boast, but we also win some award last year, Civil Architecture Award. And right, so with that, we are asking ourselves, how do we then apply this design thinking methods or process to redefine the school library so that hopefully it can stay more relevant to our youngsters these days. Here, I just want to bring some of my own thoughts about library. I'm not an expert in library design, so I'm not as expert as Chini or Ben. So I just want to share a little bit of my own 2 cents. From my own study, looking at cognitive science, I understand that there are different faculty of cognition, including 5 senses: instincts, imagination, memory, and intellect. In the East, we also have this idea of 五育, 5 aspects of education, 德智体群美, character, intellect, physical education, social education, and creative education. But so far, from my personal view, library has so far only tackled at the intellect. What about the rest of the senses, the rest of the character building, social, and creativity? That's something that perhaps library can take the lead as a source of value that drives interest, innovation, and collaboration, and not just a source of knowledge. So perhaps from there we can see how we can redefine the role of library in the school or in the neighborhood as such. I hope one day this library can also open up to my kids who can just walk by and then maybe can also read here, right? So that could be the new role of library, school library in the neighborhood. Just want to share a few examples of how other places has done in library. I'm not referring to school library per se. Just want to open up and see what kinds of learning spaces are there that we can actually draw reference from. So this is in Japan, in Sendai, called Sendai Mediatek. I'm sure those around who are architects know about this place. Toyo Ito has sort of transformed the idea of library into a center for the media and how people can actually interact through various kind of programs. And what's amazing is that the structure is so flexible and free. The whole space is open and open-ended kind of space, so you can actually transform into all kinds of spaces as and when you need to. Yep. Oh, well, this is the library that I was working on. This is perhaps the only connection I have with library in the past. I was working on this project in Bishan Library. So this is the rendering that I did 10 over years ago, and it was actually turned out quite nice. I think what I understand is that the youngsters really like this cantilever pot here. So every time I go there, I couldn't find one to go in myself because it always occupied. But that was a preliminary idea of the children's library at the basement as well. In fact, we want to turn it into a slides and playground and all that. Of course, it's not possible. But I think there's some spirit of that still retained. And also the top floor become an art space and exhibition space and so on. I didn't show the actual photo of the interior, but if you want, you can always visit. It's a public library. Yeah. All right, I really like this project. This is a library by the NVRDV in Netherlands. This is called a Mountain of Books. So just by the impact itself, it's already, you are so drawn into this mountain and climbing the mountain of knowledge and things like that, and go around the public spaces, having a direct interaction with the books and the people and the nature. And it looks like a mountain from outside. Another library that I love very much, not because of the aesthetic itself, but just because simply the kind of space that you just feel that you want to be in, that's welcoming. Because I was in Cambridge, Massachusetts for a year for my stint. So this is where me and my kids actually spend a lot of time, just basically browsing, reading, and just killing time. And it's such a wonderful, environment, space to be in, both inside and outside during summer, of course. Finally, this last project I want to share with you. This is by my PhD supervisor, Li Xiaodong from China. So he has also reconceptualized the kind of interior space for the library such that there's actually no library shelf. The whole space is the library. The floor is the library. The steps and knowledge is just everywhere. You can just work with different people, climbing up and down and just be inside the library shelf itself. And have a quiet moment to yourself, enjoy the view and nature, and quietly sit within such a wonderful landscape like a Chinese painting. All right, with that, thank you very much.